Guys, welcome back to another edition on this podcast. This is Talk Hot Sport. We say it just the way it is. Today with me, I have a man of class and caliber, a man of gigantic physiognomy, who has gone wide, in this sport industry, and that is the person of Mr. Victor.
Yeah, good evening, viewers. Welcome to today's show.
Okay, we all know what's going on in the world sport right now, the World Cup. A lot of teams are, shocking a lot of other teams. The likes of Morocco shocked Spain. I wasn't expecting that. I was actually rooting for Senegal, to win, but eventually, I think England, they were just too much, for them. And a lot happened. But today, we are going to talk about few things that I think we really need to talk about, because this is Talk Hot Sports. We say it's just the way it is. Alright, let's start with the England-Senegal Senegal game. Do you think if Senegal had scored first, do you think maybe the game would have changed, or England was just too much for them? Even if they had scored first, England would still have come out as a winner that day.
The game, because I remembered I watched the game at Westfield, where Afrisel gave the whole of the Gambian fans, football lovers, opportunity to watch football. Mm-hmm. And I was there and I watched the match live there. Even if Senegal scored earlier before England would have still come up with a strategy and game plan to win them. Looking at the game that day, I realized England was the better team, stronger team in terms of plans, in terms of strategy, in terms of tactics. And since the coach introduced Fodi and Rashford, there's a bit of difference in Anderson in the midfield. There's a bit of difference and intensity in the game. So it really showed off, and even Kane really actually played very well that day. And looking at the Senegalese team, I think in the first 10-15 minutes they showed the consistency. They really showed up like they wanted to win the game, but those 15 minutes, during those 15 minutes, England was trying to get balance of their game. They were not rushing out, and even Senegal was trying to do massive attack, massive defense, but England was just cooling the game down. And at the point in which they got the first goal, second goal immediately, so everything changed. So and they maintained the game plan that way, and it gave them the victory.
So, what you're trying to say in a nutshell is tactically, England was better.
England was far better.
Yeah. But what if Sadio Mane, was in the game? Because I realized Senegal wanted to use a particular tactic. I think the wings,
the flanks.
They wanted to use the flanks to, but eventually I think because Mane was not there, they couldn't make use of, there was no balance. The other guy wasn't doing the job. He wasn't really doing much. He wasn't really doing what he was supposed to do. So I think maybe if Mane was in the game, maybe he could have made the difference.
If you could remember, during the group stages, after their first game in which they lost, I said something here. I said Senegal was still going to qualify for the round of 16, even though Mane was not around. Because looking at the opponents that they were going to face, that's Ecuador and Qatar, which I feel Qatar was just a bonus for everybody. Yes. So, and eventually they qualified for the round of 16. But facing England, which is a better side, even if Mane was there, Mane would actually, yes, would add up to them. But the force from Mane is not enough to conquer what England had on ground that day.
All right, moving on. Portugal versus Switzerland. I think they won the game 6-1.
6-1.
I think that was a colossal win. Very massive win.
Yeah, massive.
Do you think Ronaldo, do you think I don't know how to put it, but let me break it down so you will understand what I'm trying to say. Look at Argentina. They won 2-1 versus Australia, and then Messi did a lot in that game. Scored the first goal, and created a lot of chances in the final third. Did a lot of things in the game, But Portugal won 6-1, and Ronaldo was not there. It was their main guy that scored 3. Guaglianco, I've forgotten the name. Kind of, he was the one that scored hat-trick, and some other players, augmented
that's Ramos. It was Ramos that scored 3 goals.
Now, what do you have to say about that? Are we trying to say, or are we trying to confirm the greatest of all time? Yeah, or should we say Messi is just the greatest of all time? Because looking at how Portugal won the game, Ronaldo was not even in the picture. He didn't even score any goal. When he came in, the only goal he scored was an offside. He didn't even make any difference. But Messi made the difference in Argentina against Australia. So seeing that, have we confirmed the so is Messi our GOAT?
Excuse me. Looking at the game, Portugal, Switzerland. Yes, it was a smooth game for Portugal. They really came out and they showed their class. And looking at Switzerland, they were beaten and they were washed that day. Why? Because yes, they faced a better team with more concentration and more strategy. And if you look at the Portuguese team, they really work with their plan and with their strategy, and the plan really worked for them, and it gave them many goals. Fine. Ronaldo was on bench that day. Why? Because for me, if I was a manager, if I was the manager or the coach as well, I would have put.
Manager of the team.
I would have put him on the bench, because for me, even though I'm not really a fan of Ronaldo, but it has got to the stage that Ronaldo has to sit for young blood to actually take over or to play. Fine, he can just be put in maybe when they need experience, or maybe some few minutes or so, maybe like 20 minutes, or the same way he was substituted, he was brought in that game. That's the kind of time Ronaldo should be introduced into the game, because in terms of strength, in terms of agility, in terms of speed, Ronaldo does not have it anymore. And looking at Ramos that replaced him, that he gave wonderful hat-trick, and the 3 goals were very, very nice and awesome. So in this kind of level now, we need the young bloods to actually come out and show forth their talent as well. Even though we have when we have the old ones with their experience, there are certain times that you have to put them on bench and let the young bloods work. So, and that's proved us right, and proved the coach and the whole world right, that young bloods can actually do it, and Ramos showed it, and it really worked well.
Talking about young blood, Messi is also an old man. Yeah. I think Messi is 35.
Yeah, Messi is,
and he's still doing justice to some games. So they didn't bench Messi.
Yeah, so they didn't. I don't know. If you look at the two teams, look at the differences. Messi is more of an influential player on the pitch because he's a team player, and Ronaldo is not. If you look at the Portuguese team, he's not more. Ronaldo is not he's not a kind of. He's not a creative player. He's a striker, because he will always expect other team players, other players to get him the ball. And in this kind of situation in the Portuguese team, they need someone who is young enough, who can withdraw, who can come, who can take passes, who can share passes, and who can also score. But Ronaldo is a finisher and is old. He cannot come to the middle. He cannot withdraw so much to the middle and come and run and do all these runs and all of that. But if you look at Messi is a midfielder, and Messi is well known with free flow of football. So it's easy for him to always withdraw. He's not a goal poacher. If you look at Ronaldo is not a top striker. Ronaldo is always. Messi is not a goal poacher. Messi is a midfielder, and he flows with team all the time. So even its weaknesses will not really show, other than the person that is always waiting for passes, is always waiting for runs from other people for him to score and all that. So I feel that is why you always see Messi. And comparing the two, I don't always want to compare the two, because I always find I have Messi at heart. Is Messi? I prefer Messi. at every point in time. But I don't want to use my emotion to actually judge. That's why I always say I prefer Messi. Even though a lot of people love Ronaldo, a lot of people love Messi as well. But Ronaldo is a very good player. Messi is also a good player as well.
If Ronaldo had started the game, are you saying Portugal wouldn't have won the game 6-1?
Look, compare the games they had played. They have started Ronaldo with. Look at the intensity. Look at the way they played, and look at the results. Look at what happened. And I even heard that even before the match, they had like a general I think kind of election that a lot of fans voted Ronaldo out, that he shouldn't be introduced, that he should be benched. And at the end of the day, he was benched. And look at the result. Yeah, I'm not saying they can play the next game.
We can't really pick out a game and say because Ronaldo didn't start that particular game, and that was why.
But for me, looking at him at Manchester United, I've always been saying it that the decision for the coach to put him on bench is actually very right. I've been on this for a very long time.
No, talking about that Manchester United, I think the coach still has a lot to do. He doesn't understand the system yet.
So
I'm not going to pick out Ronaldo and
say, yes, but seeing the same thing happening in Portugal, for the coach to put him on bench, and at the end of the day, we had a huge result. They had a very huge result. So it's a thing for you to have that kind of result. You are going to sit on that. Do you think the next game now the coach will start Ronaldo? Do you think so? Maybe if he now needs experience due to the opponent Portugal is going to play with, in which I doubt.
You know, one thing I realize is when someone like Ronaldo is playing, other teams tend to focus more on him, because they know if you can stop him, there's every probability that you've stopped every time. Do you understand? So I think that was what the coach, saw, and that was why he benched. I'm just saying it from my own perspective. I don't know, because you have to approach every game tactically. You have to look at the opponent and look at what fits the game.
Yeah.
So me, I'm not going to singularly pick Ronaldo out and say, okay, it's because he has not been performing or is underperforming, and that was why the coach benched him. I feel they looked at the team or the opponent they were going to play, and they saw that okay, tactically I think this is what we have to do.
Yeah, that was what I also mentioned, that probably the next game, if need be, if Ronaldo will be needed, probably because of his experience and looking at the capability, looking at the ability and the strategy of the other team. So he can try to compare and see, okay, I think Ronaldo will be fit for this team, or if Ronaldo is not going to be fit for this team, then he's going to be on bench. So it all depends on the manager, it all depends on the coach. It's the coach that answer, So let's leave it to the coach.
All right. So moving on. What do you think about Morocco? I think Morocco is sincerely making us proud. Shout out to Morocco. This is Talk Hot Sports. We are talking here from the Gambia. We love what you are doing. We love you so much. Keep it up, Morocco. I think they are playing against
Morocco is playing against.
They are playing against
Portugal.
Yeah, they are playing against Portugal. What do you think about Morocco?
Yeah.
How they won against Spain? What do you think about
I remember when the World Cup started, people were rooting for African countries. Well, I said something. I said, I'm not seeing all these African teams going far. And at the end of the day, we have just one left, which is still Morocco. And now Morocco is going to be facing Portugal, even though they had a draw with Spain, and they had to settle it out with it went on penalty, and it was during the penalty they had their victory over Spain. So but looking at Morocco playing against Portugal in quarterfinals, it's going to be a very difficult game. It's going to be a very difficult game, and I really, from my own side, I'm seeing a victorious Portuguese side again over Morocco.
Are you saying that because the Portuguese team is a star-studded team?
No.
You have the likes of Ronaldo, Fernandes.
No.
Are you saying this because if you watch that Morocco team, that team is a good team.
Of course,
they are playing very good football.
Why? Because the Morocco team is a very good team, and looking at majority of the players are playing in their national. They are playing in the country, so it is easy for them to blend, except some few foreign players, foreign players coming in together and all that. But I still see a more experienced Portugal winning them. Yeah.
Are you sure? Because actually, this particular World Cup, I was actually rooting for Spain and Japan. I wanted Japan and Spain. But look at the way they played against Spain. I was not expecting, in fact, I was expecting Spain to just win them and, let's just forget all these African countries. But eventually, they won. And they didn't it was not a fluke. The win was not, it was not a fluke. They played nice football. They came out, they played good football.
Of course.
And eventually they won the game. So,
due to penalties.
I would like to, sorry, but I think you should look at it from another perspective. Look at it from football this time. Just look at it from that perspective that, okay, if you check the tactics, how do I put it, the togetherness in that team, do you think they can't win that Portugal team? Because if you look at, I've been watching Switzerland. Yes. I watched their game. I realized the few people that make difference in that team, the likes of Xhaka, Shaqiri, and maybe some other few players. Yes. If these players are not playing, then Switzerland, there's nothing. But Morocco team is not like that. The Morocco team is not like that. They want to play. Ziyech is doing everything. Hakimi is doing this. All of them, they are doing. So what do you think they won't?
I know, but the more experienced Portugal will be victorious over Morocco because one there's a place of playing. You have a team that are blended together, and you also have a team that is also blended together with more experienced players. So I feel the experience will be the difference that day. The experience will be the difference that day. So that's why I'm saying at the end of the day, Portugal is going to win Morocco. I'm not seeing Morocco winning the game.
So what if they win?
Eventually, that's football for you. But I'm hoping there's someone that's going to win.
Let's move on. All right. Quarterfinal. The quarterfinal. And we have Croatia versus Brazil. We have Netherlands versus Argentina. Morocco versus Portugal, and then England versus France. So out of all these teams, which team are you really rooting for?
I'm a lover of Brazil. Looking at their game against
Brazil. Do you think Brazil is going to win that Croatia team?
Even
they have Modric. They have Modric. They have all these.
Of course, we have Richarlison. We have. Do you know how many players I will start mentioning in Brazil as well? As you're mentioning, I'm also mentioning Brazil. Brazilian team is also a star-studded team, so it's like that. But for me, Brazil Croatia is going to be a very tight game. It's going to be a very tight game, and it's going to be interesting. Fine, but I want Brazil to win. I want Brazil to win. Looking at their last game, the way they came out and they played the first half very well and awesome. They played together. They played as a team.
I think Lucas Paqueta is an awesome player.
Of course, they really played beautifully that day, and I'm so happy.
I want that guy in Arsenal.
You want?
All right. Now let's take Netherlands,
Argentina. Of course, from the beginning of the tournament, I said Argentina is one of the favorites. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping to see Argentina ahead into semi-finals.
I think tactically,
Argentina is way kind of better than Netherlands. I think luckily one way or the other, Netherlands have been scaling through and all that.
Tactically, I feel Argentina is better. All right, Morocco, Portugal.
Morocco. For
and
Portugal.
England, France
is going to be a very tough one.
It's going to be very huge.
It's going to be a big game. It's a big game. France facing England is going to be a very tough one.
But me, I really want England to win.
You want England to win?
I want it, and I believe they can win. Yes, I believe they can win. If their coach gets the right tactics, for the game, the right player, the right balance for that game. I feel England they have the players do justice to that. I think I know England can win that game.
France also has France have players that can also do justice and to even win the game as well. You know that. So the only thing I'm saying is the two teams. If you compare them, like right now, they are like I don't see. There's nobody that can actually predict. Oh, this team is going to be victorious over this. Everybody will all say our mind like, oh, I just want this to win. I just want this person to win. But both teams are doing very, very fine right now. If you're looking at their last round of 16 games, both France and England. For me, but due to the fact that most of our players are from England, I want to see England victorious. But I also love France as well, likes of Mbappe and Giroud and all that. But football is not all about that.
Yes.
Football has to be the reality. They are all going to be on the pitch and play it out.
But if you watch France closely, check all the matches they've played. If Mbappe doesn't score, Giroud. Now, if something happens to one of these players, what do you think?
On that day.
Okay. Or sometimes you could be I don't know, you could be practicing, or maybe I don't know, maybe rehearsing for the next game or practicing for the next game, or
you might be in training and something happens.
Training for the next game, that's the word. You might be training for the next game and something happens in training and eventually the player couldn't make it, on the match day. What do you think? Do you still feel, because me, I know that even Mbappe is not in that team, then their chances is very low. And Giroud too. Giroud.
Player like Mbappe.
Yeah.
If Mbappe is not going to play
but
the next game.
Look at England. Anyone can score. In that front line, anyone can score. The likes of Saka can score. The likes of Rashford, Harry Kane, Foden. No, a lot of them like that. You have Bellingham in the midfield that can even score. And that's it. Look at the goal Henderson scored. This is their last game. Beautiful goal. But France, I'm not sure. They have that. And I believe tactically, I think the England coach is getting better.
Yeah, tactically, I think England has more. Their team has more depth than France. So because looking at the players, looking at the first team, looking at players on bench, they have greater depth than France. And fine, if Mbappe is not going to be playing, it's going to really affect them, even psychologically to affect them, because that is one of their most influential player right now. Fine, if Kane is not playing, someone else can replace him. Even
you have the likes of Ivan Toney.
So there are players that can replace players. Even though sometimes you might probably see little differences, but in which you can actually still passion on and still work on and all that. But tactically, with looking at the depth of the teams, I'll say, England can. I will not say luckily. I don't want to use luckily. England can be victorious. England can eventually win. But for me, I want a repetition of France '98. I want to see Brazil and France at the finals. So, but that, I don't know if that will be possible, anyways.
All right. Lastly, before we end today's talk show, and I would like to ask you, which team, based on what you have seen so far, which team do you think would come out as the winner? That no, this team is
going to take the gold.
They are going to win it.
Wow.
With what you've seen so far.
This is a very difficult. It's a very difficult question. Sincerely, it's a very difficult question, because if you ask me now, I'll still bring out like two teams that I'm seeing can eventually get to finals, but I can't for now I can't say this might probably be the winner, because now we are still at quarterfinals. We still have like I think 8 teams or so. So I'll still stream it down. Maybe by semi-finals I can say this person will probably win. For now I can still pick looking at the teams right now, I can still pick a team that will get to the final. Luckily, emotionally, I'm picking Brazil. not realistically, but emotionally, I'm taking Brazil. Then I don't know why I've been talking about Argentina from the beginning.
Sincerely?
Argentina as well.
Myself, I would like Argentina and England to get to the final, and maybe England, like England to come out as winner, or probably Argentina. Either of the two, I'm a big fan, because I'm a big fan of Messi. I'm a big fan of Messi, and I would like him to, to win the World
Cup.
Not because Ronaldo is not good or anything, but I would just like him to, because I think he deserves it. He has done too much or so much in world sport.
In world of sport, yes, he's a legend.
He has
legend.
done a lot, and I think this is his last. This is going to be his last World Cup.
Even for Ronaldo as well.
His last World Cup. And I think it will be a nice thing. And there's another player I really appreciate, Di Maria. People don't talk about that player.
Of course,
he's a solid player.
He's a very nice player.
Footballer.
Yes.
And I think those are the people they deserve to win the World Cup. Even Kun Aguero, I wish Aguero was in the team. Those guys, they've done a lot in world sports. When you check their records, when you check what they have done,
Of course.
So I'm rooting for Argentina and England. The reason why I'm not picking Brazil is if you check the team, majorly you find out those guys are still in their mid-20s. Some are still young, so they still have the opportunity
to win.
To still win very much later. But if you check the likes of Argentina, you find out some players are old there. I think they deserve to win based on what they've done. All right. Thank you very much. I think we've come to the end of today's talk show. This is Talk Hot Sport. We say it just the way it is. Follow us on Instagram at Talk Hot Sport and on our YouTube page at Talk Hot Media. All right. Thank you very much. See you same time.
See you next week. Thank you so much. Wow.